What if I told you that mastering Asia starts with just one incredible city? Singapore isn't just another destination on your bucket list. It's something much more powerful than that. It's Asia's secret training ground, a place where you can experience the entire continent without ever feeling overwhelmed or lost. Here's what most travelers don't realize. Asia can be intimidating. Different languages, unfamiliar customs, complex transportation systems, street food that might seem scary. But what if you could learn all of these skills in one safe, English-speaking country first? What if you could practice being an Asian traveler before diving into the deep end? That's exactly what these 15 places in Singapore will teach you. Each location I'm about to show you isn't just beautiful, it's a gateway to understanding Asian travel. You'll discover how to navigate street food culture without getting sick, how to respect temples and mosques properly, how to use efficient public transport, and how to experience 4 different Asian cultures all in one weekend. By the end of this journey, you'll have stood on top of the world's most famous infinity pool, walked through a forest of futuristic super trees, eaten your way through Asia's greatest hawker centers, and discovered hidden street art that rivals any European capital. But more importantly, you'll have the confidence and skills to tackle Bangkok, Tokyo, Seoul, or any Asian adventure that's been calling your name. So whether this is your first trip to Asia or you're planning to explore the entire continent, these places will transform you from tourist to traveler. Let's discover why Singapore truly is Asia's perfect first stop. And we're starting at the most recognizable site in all of Southeast Asia. Welcome to the infinity pool that broke the internet. Marina Bay Sands isn't just a hotel, it's Singapore's crown jewel and your first lesson in Asian luxury. This 57-story architectural marvel teaches you something crucial about traveling in Asia. But first, let me blow your mind with a secret most visitors never discover. Here, luxury isn't just about expense, it's about experience. The Sky Park stretches 2.5 football fields across the top of 3 towers, offering 360-degree views of the entire city-state. But here's your first insider tip. You don't need to stay at the hotel to experience those views. The observation deck costs just $23, and you'll get the same panoramic perspective without the $300 room rate. Best time to visit? 45 minutes before sunset. You'll catch the golden hour, watch the city transform from day to night, and witness the Gardens by the Bay light show from above. This is your introduction to Asian efficiency. Everything here serves multiple purposes. The infinity pool isn't just for swimming, it's an architectural statement. The shopping mall below isn't just retail, it's climate-controlled comfort. The casino isn't just gambling, it's entertainment infrastructure. What you're really learning here is how Asia approaches urban planning. But here's where it gets really interesting. Every square meter has a purpose. Every view is intentionally designed. This isn't just tourism, it's urban theater on the grandest scale. Take your photos, enjoy the views, but pay attention to how this place makes you feel. That sense of awe and efficiency, you'll find it everywhere from Tokyo's skyscrapers to Bangkok's modern malls. Marina Bay Sands is teaching you to appreciate Asia's ambition. But wait until you see what happens when Singapore takes this same innovative thinking and applies it to something even more incredible. You think these views are impressive? What I'm about to show you next will completely redefine what you think is possible in urban design. Welcome to the future of urban living. Gardens by the Bay isn't just a park. It's a glimpse into how Asian cities are reimagining the relationship between nature and technology. Those towering structures aren't just art installations, they're super trees, 18 massive vertical gardens that collect rainwater, generate solar power, and act as air venting ducts for the conservatories below. This is Asia's approach to sustainability, made spectacular. But here's what most people miss completely. You're learning how Asian cities think about space. In a country with limited land, Singapore went vertical with their gardens. The Cloud Forest Conservatory replicates mountain climates 6 stories high. The Flower Dome houses Mediterranean plants in tropical Singapore. The free outdoor gardens teach you something essential about Asian travel. Not everything amazing costs money. While tourists rush to the paid conservatories, locals know the real magic happens during the evening light show. But here's the secret that changes everything. Every night at 7:45 and 8:45, the super trees come alive with music and lights, completely free. This is your crash course in Asian innovation. But wait, it gets even more fascinating. These aren't just pretty gardens. They're living laboratories testing urban farming, climate control, and sustainable design. The technologies being perfected here will appear in cities across Asia over the next decade. Walk the skyway between the super trees and you're not just getting great photos, you're experiencing how Asian cities are solving urban challenges through creativity and technology. The elevated walkway system, you'll find similar solutions in Malaysia's Petronas Towers, Bangkok's sky bridges, and Hong Kong's elevated walkways. But here's the thing about Singapore's approach to innovation. It's not just about the future, it's about honoring the past while building tomorrow. And where we're going next, it'll challenge everything you think you know about preserving culture in modern Asia. Trust me, you're not ready for what authentic really looks like here. Step into Singapore's Chinatown, and you're not just visiting a tourist district, but here's what blows most people's minds. You're walking through the most authentic recreation of historical Chinese immigrant life anywhere in the world. The Chinatown Heritage Center isn't your typical museum. It's built inside actual shophouses where Chinese immigrants lived in the 1800s. These narrow 3-story buildings housed entire families in single rooms, sometimes 20 people sharing one space. The museum has recreated these living conditions so accurately that you can smell the incense, hear the creaking floorboards, and feel the cramped intimacy of immigrant survival. But here's the secret that changes everything about how you'll approach cultural sites across Asia. This isn't just preservation, it's education in empathy. Walk through the opium den recreation, see the authentic gambling dens, experience the tailor shops and medicine halls. You're learning how to read the real stories behind the tourist-friendly facades you'll encounter throughout Asia. The Heritage Center teaches you something crucial about Asian travel. Always look for the layers beneath the surface. Every Chinatown from Bangkok to Manila has these same stories of struggle, adaptation, and resilience. But most tourists never learn to see them. Here's your practical lesson. When you visit cultural sites across Asia, don't just take photos of the pretty buildings. Ask about the people who lived there. Look for the museums that tell human stories, not just architectural ones. The Heritage Center shows you exactly how to do this. Walk down Pagoda Street afterward, and you'll see it differently. Those souvenir shops, many occupy the same buildings where families once scraped together new lives in a foreign land. The temples aren't just tourist attractions, they're community centers that provided hope and identity to people far from home. But wait until you experience what happens when you venture into Singapore's most sensory overload neighborhood. What I'm about to show you next will prepare you for the beautiful chaos that defines so much of Asian travel. And trust me, your senses aren't ready for this intensity. Welcome to Sensory Overload Paradise. Here's what most visitors don't realize when they step onto Serangoon Road. You're not just entering Little India. You're getting a masterclass in navigating the beautiful chaos that defines so much of Asian travel. The moment you walk down this street, Everything hits you at once. The smell of curry spices mixing with jasmine incense, the sound of Bollywood music competing with temple bells, the sight of rainbow-colored saris hanging next to gleaming gold jewelry. Your first instinct might be to feel overwhelmed, but this organized chaos is exactly what you'll find from Mumbai's markets to Bangkok's street stalls. But here's the insider secret that transforms this experience. Don't try to see everything at once. Pick one sense and follow it. Follow your nose to the spice shops where vendors will explain different curry powders. Follow your ears to Sri Veeramakaliamman temple for authentic Hindu ceremonies. Follow your eyes to the intricate henna artists. Little India teaches you something essential about Asian travel. Embrace the sensory intensity instead of fighting it. This neighborhood operates on Indian time, which means shops close for prayer, vendors take chai breaks, and festivals can shut down entire streets without warning. Your practical training here is learning flexibility. In Thailand, Vietnam, or India, this same beautiful unpredictability will define your experience. The best discoveries happen when you abandon rigid itineraries and follow your curiosity instead. But you haven't experienced true cultural immersion until you understand how different religions coexist in harmony. Where we're heading next will show you something most Western travelers never learn to navigate: the delicate art of religious respect in multicultural Asia. What I'm about to reveal could save you from serious cultural mistakes across the entire continent. Step into Kampong Glam and you're entering Singapore's Islamic Heritage District. But here's what most travelers completely miss. You're getting a crash course in religious etiquette that will serve you across every Muslim-majority country in Asia, from Malaysia to Indonesia to Brunei. The golden dome of Sultan Mosque dominates the skyline, and this is where your education begins. Before entering any mosque across Asia, you need to understand the rules. Remove your shoes, cover your shoulders and legs. Women must cover their hair. Photography inside is often forbidden. But here's the crucial part most guidebooks never tell you. It's not just about following rules, it's about showing genuine respect for active worship spaces. But here's the game-changing insight that transforms how you'll travel through Islamic Asia. Watch how locals interact with the mosque. They don't just visit as tourists, they participate in community life. Prayer times dictate the rhythm of the neighborhood. Shops close during Friday prayers. The call to prayer becomes your natural timekeeper. Arab Street teaches you another essential Asian travel skill: how to navigate traditional markets without being pushy. The textile shops here operate on relationship building, not aggressive sales tactics. Vendors will invite you for tea, share stories about their fabrics, and genuinely want to help you find what you need. This is how business works across much of Asia. Your practical lesson here is patience and respect. Don't rush through religious sites. Don't haggle aggressively in traditional shops. Let conversations develop naturally. This approach will transform your experiences from Thailand's temples to Malaysia's mosques. But mastering Asian travel isn't just about respecting traditions, it's about understanding how food becomes the universal language that connects every culture. What I'm about to show you next is where all your Asian travel skills come together in the most delicious way possible. Trust me, this is where tourists become travelers. Here's what blows everyone's mind about Singapore's hawker centers. You're not just eating, you're mastering the single most important skill for traveling anywhere in Asia: how to navigate street food like a local. Newton and Maxwell food centers aren't just restaurants, they're cultural ecosystems. Chinese char kway teow, next to Indian murtabak, next to Malay laksa. But watch how locals order. They don't study menus. They point, pay, and find tables immediately. But here's the secret that changes everything about Asian street food. The busiest stalls aren't always the best, but they're always the safest. High turnover means fresh ingredients. Long lines of locals mean authentic flavors. This rule will keep you healthy from Bangkok to Hanoi. Your practical education starts with the system. Reserve your table first with a tissue packet, then order from individual stalls. Hot food is safe food. Avoid heat lamp items. Trust your nose. These rules work across every Asian destination. The Hawker Center teaches you something profound. Food isn't just sustenance, it's community. People from all backgrounds share tables, share recommendations, share the experience together. But wait until you discover Singapore's secret weapon for mental clarity and peace. What I'm about to show you next proves that some of the world's most beautiful spaces don't cost a single dollar. This place will teach you how to find tranquility anywhere in chaotic Asia. Welcome to Singapore's UNESCO World Heritage Oasis. Here's what most stressed travelers never realize about the Botanic Gardens. You're not just visiting pretty flowers, you're learning the most important skill for surviving Asian travel: how to find peace in the middle of chaos. 158 years old and completely free, these gardens teach you something crucial about Asian cities. Every major destination has hidden pockets of tranquility. Bangkok has Lumpini Park, Tokyo has the Imperial Gardens, Kuala Lumpur has KLCC Park. The secret is knowing how to find them when you need mental recharge. But here's the game-changing insight that transforms your entire approach to travel stress. The Orchid Garden houses 60,000 orchid plants, but locals don't come here for the flowers. They come for the walking meditation. Watch the early morning joggers, the Tai Chi practitioners, the families having quiet picnics. This is how Asians balance intense urban living. Your practical lesson is timing. Visit at sunrise for the most peaceful experience. The gardens open at 5 a.m. and the first 2 hours belong to locals doing their morning routines. This isn't tourist time, it's life maintenance time. The Botanic Gardens teach you something profound about sustainable travel. You don't need to spend money to restore your energy. Every Asian city has free green spaces designed for exactly this purpose. But speaking of energy, wait until you see how Singapore transforms after dark. What I'm about to show you next will prove that this city's real personality emerges when the sun goes down. The nightlife here isn't just entertainment, it's cultural education in the most unexpected way. Welcome to Singapore's entertainment heart, along the Singapore River. Here's what most party seekers completely miss about Clarke Quay. You're not just experiencing nightlife, you're getting a masterclass in how Asian cities balance tradition with modern entertainment. These colorful restored shophouses were once spice warehouses and trading posts. Now they house rooftop bars, riverside restaurants, and entertainment venues. But watch how locals use this space. It's not just about drinking, it's about social connection across generations. Families dine early, young professionals gather after work, tourists party late. 3 different cultures sharing one space peacefully. But here's the insight that changes everything about how you'll approach nightlife across Asia. Clarke Quay operates on Asian hospitality principles. Service is relationship-based, not transactional. Bartenders remember your drink. Servers check on your comfort. Restaurant staff treat you like family, not customers. Your practical lesson is patience and respect. Don't rush from bar to bar like you're checking items off a list. Pick 1 or 2 places and let the evening develop naturally. Take the river taxi to see the city from water level. The bumboat rides cost just $3 and give you perspectives you can't get from street level. The riverside teaches you something essential about Asian urban planning. Water features aren't just decoration, they're cultural arteries. From Bangkok's canals to Venice-style water taxis, rivers connect Asian cities in ways that roads cannot. But wait until you experience what happens when Singapore takes relaxation to a completely different level. What I'm about to show you next will make you question everything you thought you knew about tropical paradise accessibility. This isn't just a beach, it's an engineering marvel. Welcome to Manufactured Paradise. Here's what blows visitors' minds about Sentosa Island. You're not just visiting beaches, you're experiencing how Asian cities create nature when geography doesn't cooperate. Sentosa's beaches are completely artificial. Every grain of sand was imported, the palm trees were planted, the lagoons were excavated. But here's the crucial lesson for Asian travel. Sometimes the fake experiences teach you more about local ingenuity than authentic ones. This is Asian problem-solving at its finest. Sentosa proves that accessibility matters more than authenticity. The beaches connect to the city by monorail, cable car, and causeway. You can be swimming in tropical waters 30 minutes after leaving your downtown hotel. Your practical education starts with transportation options. The cable car offers spectacular aerial views, but costs $29. The monorail is efficient and costs $4. Walking across the boardwalk is free, but takes 40 minutes. Each option provides different perspectives of Singapore's engineering ambitions. The island teaches you something profound about Asian urban planning. When nature doesn't provide what cities need, Asian engineers create it. From Dubai's artificial islands to Malaysia's man-made lakes, the line between natural and artificial blurs throughout modern Asia. Sentosa's beaches aren't just recreation, they're statements about human possibility and urban design. But wait until you see how Singapore approaches something even more ambitious than creating beaches. What I'm about to show you next will reveal how this city turns shopping into an art form that influences retail culture across the entire continent. This isn't just buying things, it's cultural immersion. Welcome to Asia's Retail University. Here's what most shoppers never realize about Orchard Road. You're not just browsing stores, you're experiencing the blueprint for every major shopping district, from Bangkok to Beijing. This 2-kilometer stretch houses everything from luxury boutiques to local department stores like Takashimaya. But watch how locals shop. They don't just buy products, they socialize. Shopping malls are community centers with air conditioning. Families spend entire days here, eating, shopping, and connecting. But here's the insight that changes everything about Asian consumer culture. Shopping isn't just commerce, it's entertainment and escape. Ion Orchard's basement food court serves authentic hawker food in luxury mall comfort. Ngee Ann City combines high-end shopping with cultural experiences. This is how Asia reimagined retail. Your practical lesson is understanding mall hierarchy. Ground floors house luxury brands and cosmetics. Upper floors offer more affordable options and food courts. Basement levels always have the best local food and practical shopping. This pattern repeats in every Asian shopping destination. Orchard Road teaches you something essential about Asian urban design. When space is limited, buildings go vertical and serve multiple purposes. These aren't just shopping centers, they're climate-controlled cities within cities. The road demonstrates how Asian retail influences global shopping culture. The mall as destination concept started here and spread worldwide. But prepare yourself for something completely different. What I'm about to show you next proves that Singapore's most innovative thinking happens in the most unexpected places. This isn't just animal conservation, it's revolutionary zoo design that's reshaping wildlife experiences globally. Welcome to the world's first open-concept zoo. But here's what most animal lovers don't realize about Singapore Zoo. You're not just watching animals, you're experiencing the future of wildlife conservation that's influencing zoos worldwide. No cages, no bars, just moats, glass panels, and natural barriers that create the illusion of walking through actual habitats. White rhinos graze meters away from walking paths. Orangutans swing overhead on natural rope bridges. This revolutionary design opened in 1973 and changed everything. But here's the game-changing insight that transforms how you'll view animal experiences across Asia. The night safari isn't just a gimmick, it's educational brilliance. 60% of animals are naturally nocturnal, but traditional zoos only show you sleeping creatures. Here you see lions hunting, elephants foraging, and hippos swimming under moonlight. Your practical lesson is timing and respect. Day zoo visits work best in early morning when animals are active. Night safari starts at 7:30 p.m. and operates until midnight. Book tram tickets in advance, especially during weekends. The walking trails offer closer encounters, but require more time. Singapore Zoo teaches you something profound about Asian innovation. The region doesn't just copy Western concepts, it reimagines them completely. This approach influences everything from theme parks in Japan to safari experiences in Thailand. But speaking of Singapore's creative thinking, wait until you see how this city approaches its most famous symbol. What I'm about to show you next is simultaneously the most touristy and most essential stop for understanding Singapore's national identity. This isn't just a photo opportunity, it's cultural psychology made visible. Meet Singapore's most photographed resident. Here's what most selfie takers completely miss about the Merlion. You're not just posing with a statue, you're witnessing how modern countries create national mythology from scratch. The Merlion was invented in 1964 by the Tourism Board. Half lion representing Singapore's original name Singapura, meaning Lion City. Half fish honoring the island's fishing village origins. This 8-meter statue shooting water into Marina Bay became Singapore's symbol in less than 60 years. But here's the insight that changes everything about understanding modern Asian identity. The Merlion proves that authentic national symbols don't need ancient history. They need emotional resonance and strategic storytelling. This creature that never existed in mythology now represents an entire nation's aspirations. Your practical lesson is perspective and timing. The best Merlion photos come from multiple angles. Shoot from the statue's base looking up. Capture it with Marina Bay Sands in the background. Visit during blue hour when the city lights reflect in the water. The surrounding bay offers unlimited composition possibilities. Marina Bay itself demonstrates Singapore's mastery of urban theatre. Every building, bridge, and waterway is positioned for maximum visual impact. This isn't accidental city planning, it's deliberate nation branding. The area teaches you something profound about Asian soft power. Countries use architecture, symbols, and experiences to project influence and identity worldwide. But wait until you discover how Singapore's young creative generation is expressing itself. What I'm about to show you next proves that authentic artistic expression thrives even in the world's most organized society. This isn't just street art, it's cultural rebellion made beautiful. Welcome to Singapore's creative soul compressed into one narrow street. Here's what most Instagram hunters don't realize about Haji Lane. You're not just photographing colorful walls, you're witnessing how artistic freedom survives in highly regulated societies. This 100-meter alley in Kampong Glam showcases Singapore's underground art scene. Every wall tells stories of local artists, international collaborations, and cultural fusion. The murals change constantly as new artists add their voices to this outdoor gallery. But here's the game-changing insight that transforms how you'll view street art across Asia. Haji Lane represents controlled rebellion. The government allows artistic expression in designated spaces while maintaining order elsewhere. This compromise between creativity and regulation defines modern Asian urban culture. Your practical lesson is respect and timing. Don't just pose for photos, read the art. Many murals contain social commentary, cultural references, and artistic techniques worth studying. Visit during weekday mornings for fewer crowds and better lighting. The narrow alley gets congested during weekend afternoons. The boutique shops lining the lane demonstrate how creative districts develop organically. Local designers, vintage collectors, and independent cafes cluster around artistic energy. This pattern repeats in creative quarters from Bangkok's Thonglor to Seoul's Hongdae. Haji Lane teaches you something essential about Asian cultural balance. Innovation and tradition, control and freedom, global influence and local identity all coexist in dynamic tension. But get ready for the ultimate perspective on everything we've discovered. What I'm about to show you next will literally elevate your understanding of Singapore's incredible urban planning. This final experience gives one breathtaking 360-degree revelation. Welcome to Singapore from 165 meters above. Here's what most sightseers don't realize about the Singapore Flyer. You're not just getting views, you're receiving a masterclass in how Asian cities maximize every square meter of available space. From this height, Singapore's urban planning reveals itself completely. The gardens by the bay super trees align perfectly with Marina Bay Sands. The financial district connects seamlessly to cultural neighborhoods. Ships queue in organized patterns offshore. Everything has purpose, position, and precision. But here's the revelation that changes everything about understanding Asian urban development. The Flyer doesn't just show you Singapore, it shows you the future of city planning. Every major Asian metropolis studies Singapore's model: limited land forces, vertical thinking, efficient transportation, and integrated design. Your practical lesson is timing and preparation. Book sunset slots for the most dramatic lighting. The 30-minute rotation provides different perspectives throughout the journey. Bring a camera with zoom capabilities to capture detailed shots of specific neighborhoods. Clear days offer views extending to Malaysia and Indonesia. The observation wheel teaches you something profound about Asian ambition. When geography limits expansion, cities grow upward and inward. Every view from the Flyer demonstrates how Singapore conquered space constraints through innovative design. This perspective prepares you for understanding other Asian megacities where similar principles apply on even larger scales. But before we conclude this incredible journey, there's one more essential Singapore experience that locals treasure above all others. What I'm about to show you next represents the perfect balance between urban sophistication and natural simplicity. This is where Singapore's soul truly lives. Welcome to where Singaporeans go to remember that they're human. Here's what most tourists never discover about East Coast Park. You're not just renting a bike, you're experiencing how locals balance intense urban living with simple pleasures. This 15-kilometer stretch of reclaimed coastline represents Singapore's commitment to livability. Families cycle together on weekends, Couples jog during sunrise, friends gather for beach picnics and barbecues. This isn't tourism, this is life maintenance in one of the world's most efficient cities. But here's the profound insight that completes your Asian travel education. East Coast Park proves that successful Asian cities don't just focus on economic growth, they prioritize human happiness. The cycling paths, beach access, and recreational facilities demonstrate how urban planning can preserve quality of life. Your practical lesson is integration, not observation. Rent a bike from the numerous shops along East Coast Road. Cycle the full coastline for the complete experience. Stop at hawker centers like East Coast Lagoon Food Village for authentic local dining. Join families flying kites, playing volleyball, or simply watching ships pass by. The park teaches you the most important lesson about Asian travel. Behind all the efficiency, innovation, and urban sophistication, these cities exist to serve human needs for connection, relaxation, and simple joy. East Coast Park completes your Singapore experience. You now understand how this remarkable city-state balances every aspect of modern living. So there you have it, incredible places that prove Singapore truly is Asia's perfect first stop. You didn't just visit tourist attractions, you completed a comprehensive course in Asian travel mastery. Think about what you've learned. At Marina Bay Sands, you discovered how Asian luxury prioritizes experience over expense. In the hawker centers, you mastered the single most important skill for Asian travel, navigating street food safely and authentically. At the temples and mosques, you learn the religious respect that will serve you from Thailand to Indonesia. But the real transformation goes deeper than practical skills. You've learned to appreciate engineered nature at Gardens by the Bay. You've understood how multicultural harmony works in practice. You've seen how Asian cities balance tradition with innovation, efficiency with humanity, control with creative freedom. Singapore taught you something profound about confidence. Every skill you've practiced here, from ordering food to respecting cultural sites to finding peaceful spaces in urban chaos, transfers directly to the rest of Asia. The beauty of starting with Singapore is that it removes the fear while building the skills. Now, when you land in Bangkok's chaotic streets, you'll recognize the organized patterns beneath the surface. When you encounter Vietnamese street food, you'll know how to identify safe, delicious options. When you visit temples in Cambodia or mosques in Malaysia, you'll approach them with proper respect and understanding. You've just experienced what makes Singapore the ultimate gateway to Asia. Every skill you've gained, every insight you've discovered, every moment of confidence you've built here transfers directly to your next Asian adventure. The entire continent is now calling your name, and you're ready to answer. Welcome to your Asian journey. This is just the beginning.